The world is saved. The living room's dark, save for light being cast from the big TV screen and the imminent sunrise that's teasing the one starry sky with whispers of morning.
Hey, George.
Hey, Lions, how's it going?
It's going really good because
Yeah.
I have one very specific reason that I'm excited to share with you.
But just the one.
Just the one. There's only one thing to be happy about, and it's this Twitter account. So I was talking on the internet about the game we were playing for the last episode and the game we were going to be playing for this episode. And someone who follows me said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That always makes me think of... And he linked me to a Twitter account that does nothing but tweet the names of Wikipedia articles that happen to have the same syllable stresses as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I will put the link to this in the show notes. It's apparently actually based on an XKCD comic. And so this person just like ran with the idea. But these are just things that fit the syllabic rhythm of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not the entire song, right? Just that, kind of like ba 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 ba. So like Treasure Island, San Francisco, and they have to be their whole Wikipedia article titles, which means a lot of these have parentheses in them, and they also auto-generated artwork of the titles, so there's like weird parentheses just shoved in wherever they would belong, and it does not always look quite right. This one's good. Truly, madly, deeply, novel in parentheses, right? But it's like where the word turtles would be. It's very strange. Circle City Roller Derby. There's a lot of these, man. There's like dozens of them. A lot of people with junior in their name because that's a good cap at the end, right? Because you get that last like stress you need.
Yep. But so I'm sorry. I'm just jogging my mind. What game did we play?
We played a game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, which, as a person who has to type words into boxes to get the things we do onto the internet, I really wish fewer games would use colons in their titles.
Yeah, you'd think that, but here we are. So we did play this game. This is a NEWstalgia goggle. Woo! And we did play another Ninja Turtles brawler leading up to this. Not the good one, but we played one. The good one.
It might have been fine. Go listen to the episode. See what we thought.
Yeah, I mean, go check that out. It's either Turtles in Time or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Turtling. It's one of those two. You should check them both out and see which one we're talking about.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You
want to keep that pregnant pause in or what?
Oh no, that awkward pause is definitely staying now. Anyone with any common sense listens to podcasts with like the dead air skip on, which causes, if you listen to comedy podcasts, that can really mess up the timing. I knew this game existed, but I think you were the one who was like, hey, guess what we are going to play? So tell me how this came into your radar.
I got them washing the kids, putting them in their bath, right? And so they're drying off because I ain't no helicopter parent. I toss them the towels and they just like figure it out. My phone rang, so obviously it gained all of my attention in that particular cross section of time, and it said, "Hey, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is coming out," and I said, "What?" And then immediately like scrolled down, and I was like, "Oh!" I hit buy, bought it immediately. Hit download, texted you, guess what we're playing next? And then it pinged me, this has been downloaded onto your PlayStation 500 miles from where you are. And I said, good. And that's where I was at. How did this enter your life?
So I actually follow some of the artists that worked on this game online. So they were like very slowly dripping out little bits of like, oh, hey, like, here's some artwork I'm working on for a project can't really talk too much about. And then, once the embargoes were lifted, they were just like, I worked on this. Oh my God. And it's, this game is all pixel art style, right? It's all, the music is in the style of the classic games and everything. And I do want to just quickly remind myself, because we skipped over. This game came out this year, so this came out in June of 2022. Platform is all of them, but the summary, I'm actually going to steal the first sentence from Wikipedia wholesale, because it's a beat 'em up game developed by Tribute Games. And that tells you everything you need to know. The company is literally called Tribute Games. Like,
Yeah.
This is what they do. They make games that play, hopefully, the way you fondly remember some much older game. I think I didn't take the time to look this up, so if I'm wrong, please don't get angry with me. But I think this game, or some of the people who worked on this game, are some of the same people that made the Scott Pilgrim versus the World beat 'em up.
Way, way, way worse, by the way. We should discuss that sometime. Not a fan, but continue.
I haven't played it since it was new, but I remember it fondly, and now I'm not going to replay it.
It's not as good as this. Continue.
But you know what I mean? It's like, this is everything about this game is, hey, other person who's probably about my age, did you play these games when you were younger? Would you like to feel that feeling again? Right? Like, that's what they're going for, right? And it's 100% a nostalgia cash grab, but from people who desperately care, right? And that doesn't mean that the end product is going to be good, but I will always give the benefit of the doubt to people who are like, no, we are not soulless corporate drones trying to make a buck. We are dedicated fans trying to make a buck off of this thing we both love, right? And so, like, that's way safer as an endeavor.
No, I way agreed, because I mean, I think there's a big difference between, like, hey, there's a thing that I loved when I was younger, and I have tried to make a buck, doing my own deal with it. And it's like, yeah, man, good for you, as opposed to, I have seen all of the spreadsheet numbers associated with this product, and I have decided to create a new product that has the same spreadsheet numbers. It's like, then you don't understand it. For example, I technically still am endeavoring to make a game that is similar to Munchkin, but drinking, and like, but like the reason isn't because I saw Munchkin. I said, I can monetize this in my own way. I said, hey man, what if Munchkin, but a drinking game, and that's made a thing. I made a thing that hopefully people like, right? But I think that even if people play it and they're like, this is bad, it's like, yeah, but does it feel like a cash grab? People would say, like, I mean, no, like, it doesn't feel like it's just bad. It is just bad on its face, right?
It's bad on its own merits.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel, I don't know, it just doesn't feel mechanical. It doesn't feel like, and now we checked all the boxes and we did the thing, Yeah,
you can usually tell. It's you can't always tell before you crack open the box or watch the first 10 minutes or play the first hour or whatever, but like, usually are like, oh, that's what this is. I'm
just saying that it would be a number of times it would take for me to figure it out. Maybe 9. It would be a mighty number of 9 in order for me to figure it out, but I'd probably get there.
That game was terrible. Shall we shill?
We shall shill.
So if you like what we're doing and you want to hear more of me singing things like Little Baby Face Foundation, then you can subscribe to us, of course, to get new episodes of the show. You can follow George and I and the podcast on the Twitters, links for all these things in the show notes, of course. You can reach out to us. We love when people reach out and request games or comment on our reviews. You can do that on our website, or you can follow me on Twitch, where I stream most of the games we play, and actually played the entirety of this co-op on stream. So the whole,
with whom?
With my channel moderator, Tiny Panda Pow.
Cool. I have played countless hours of this with Teddy and Lizzie, my 4-year-old.
If you want to hear about George's craziness behind the scenes after show stuff, you can do that by becoming a patron. Give us $1. Everybody gets the after show for as little as $1, but if you are a patron at a higher level, then you can get shouted out like our 8-bit classics, Jacob,
the world's most fearsome fighting team,
Yarno,
a hero and a half shell, wait, and he's green,
Jason,
who actually has this like sixth sense, like a third eye, if you will, knowing when the evil Shredder attacks.
John.
I mean, come on, that turtle boy, don't cut him no slack.
And Kevin.
Donatello, who, does machines, and we'll just all take that at its face value.
And our 16-bit hero, Michael.
Who is a Michelangelo and a party dude. Because, here's the thing, is that that's not all of them, because you're the Raphael who's cool but crude, and I'm the Leonardo. So,
Yeah.
I say
so now we're a team.
Yeah, now we're a team. It's you, me, and the two people who pay us.
And their money.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm just saying these turtles ain't going on fun. Look at the things that they're fielding. I mean, tell me militarily, tactically, that costs $0. They have a blimp. They're like, we're gonna study ninjutsu and then fly a blimp across New York.
Yeah, no, blimps and soccer vans are the vehicles traditionally of the ninja. Did you not know this? All right, let's talk about the audio visuals for this game.
Let's do that. Yeah.
This game is like criminally good looking. Like,
oh, God, it's so hot, man.
It's unfair how good this pixel art is.
I, as another game from across the bar, can't stop staring at this game. You know, like I don't know what to do. Everything about it's beautiful, and I know that we've said like, okay, we want to try to prune down the audio visual notes, but like, there's a lot here, man.
No, say as much as this game deserves. Don't skip.
Okay, so here's one of the things that it's not a throwaway note, but it's a note that is minor, but I wanted to call it out. April O'Neil has very powerful animations to her strikes, and I think that that's important. Because it would have been so easy to have April O'Neil like throwing her mic at people and like slapping people and all sorts of all that kind of things. But like one of the things that she does when like she punches, but one of her like with her normal like punch attacks, she actually throws both arms up in an elbow with like her fists pointing towards her head. I'm like, that is straight out of Nanchin, man.
Yeah, no, she is not a brawler. She is like a martial artist.
She is, man. She wrecks people. And again, when I was playing this game, I was like, April O'Neil is a playable character. That's good. I'm glad. I'm happy that that's a thing. And then when I was watching, I'm like, oh no, they actually they cared. This wasn't just, we'll throw April O'Neil in there. I don't know, that'll make some people happy. It's like, no, April O'Neil is a fighter in this. She's not, as we said in the last game, she's not some damsel to be saved. She is a combatant.
Well, and I think critically to that being a thing that is taken for granted by the next generation is you don't unlock April O'Neil. April O'Neil is in the fight from the word go, right? You turn this game on for the first time, you choose your hero is what it says on the screen. And one of those heroes is April O'Neil. Like she is equally valid to the 4 turtles and to Splinter, right? So you have 6 playable characters, and there's a million billion little details because this is a fan game. So like visually, there's a million billion little details that I think both of us could endlessly gush about and still not even covered half the list because I bet there's stuff in here that I don't even remember or that I didn't recognize.
I have one specific little detail that came to me in a dream that I need to discuss with you. But yeah, continue.
But I was just gonna like to build on your point of April O'Neil is got fantastic fighting animations. They're unique, right? Because she fights with sort of her bare hands, but also like film equipment because she's a reporter, which is kind of amazing.
She pulls out of like nowhere, which means she's kind of carrying it all. She has a bag of holding,
infinite cartoon character pockets.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like Splinter has a walking stick, so he fights with his like rat claw and his walking stick, and then the turtles all obviously fight with their weapons, right? But then April O'Neil is like arguably the better fighter out of everyone because like, yeah, she has tools, but they're not weapons. She's like friggin' Jackie Chan, like bare hands and whatever's lying around, right? And for her, that's a microphone and a television camera.
100% agreed. Okay, so here's the audiovisual nugget that came to me in a dream, and then I followed up on, and I wasn't wrong. Because what hit me was that Splinter, when he does his like ultimate attack, right?
Oh, his super move.
His super move, right? The exact same animation in the intro to the Ninja Turtles 1989 TV show.
Yes. That's amazing.
No, I'm not finished. Leonardo's like we beat the bad guy move and Raphael's we beat the bad guy move the exact same as their intros in the 1989 TV show.
That's so good.
I'm not finished. And Michelangelo's gaining power to do his special move that is also exactly almost frame for frame from the 1989 TV show. Donatello they couldn't replicate because he had like a freaking tower of, mechanical BS that he was messing with. So I couldn't find his corollary because otherwise this would have been perfect.
He plays the Game Boy in his taunt.
Yeah. But literally everyone else, their animation from the TV show is somewhere in this game, and it's beautiful. Sorry, now continue.
Well, and that's visually, you could probably watch someone else play this, and for a solid 10 minutes, just be constantly going, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, right? Like, because it's just, there's a million little things that are throwbacks to the cartoon, throwbacks to the games, which in a lot of instances were also, drawing stuff from the cartoons. So, I mean, there's just so much recognition of the source material that I think would be virtually impossible to fake, because that would be so, if you're the soulless corporate executive who's like, oh, we're going to do a cash grab game, you don't go back and frame by frame analyze the opening to the cartoon. You watch the opening and you say, oh, okay, we'll have them jumping around and like doing ninja stuff and there'll be pizza. And someone, the people who made this game were like, nope. This thing is 45 seconds long and we're going to use 44 of those seconds.
Well, because I feel like the difference is where the start material, the start idea comes from. Because for as you said, for the corporate cash grab, they would watch the old TV show and say like, yeah, I don't know, do these things. When it's a fan base game, they say, where can we put these things? Like, we're gonna make a game. It has to have these things. It has to do this. Yeah, that's fine. It's a brawler. It has to do these brawler things well, right? So we're not going to remake the wheel. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the source material and since we've seen it a million times, I don't know, man. What do you always want to have in a Ninja Turtle game? Like, what's your thing? It's like, oh, well, I want to put this in there, and you're like, yeah. I also want to put this other thing in there. For example, Raphael sounds like, and I'm dumping in the sound here. I got more in visuals, but dumping in the sound for a second.
It's freeform, baby.
It's audio visual. He sounds like Raphael from the TV shows, not the reboot, because they changed his voice dramatically in most of the reboots because he's supposed to be cool but crude, right? And he just kind of sounds like a person in the original TV shows, but in all the other ones they supercharged it. They didn't do that. And they went back to the original, which to me was a key into they're doing the OG, they're doing the original game, man.
Well, and the colors are like the original cartoon, right? It's very bright and Saturday morning. A lot of the later iterations are much darker. They have the silly, turtle beak, super round nose. Like it's the original version, but with a level of polish that the original version, of course, could not afford, right? Because the 89 cartoon was like, oh, hey, we're going to make this cartoon to try and sell toys. And then kids all over America and maybe all over the world were like, I would very much like to buy those toys. And then we got good games and the later seasons are higher quality, right? Because then they were like, oh, money.
Oh my God, money.
These turtles are the color of money. We just noticed.
Because that's the thing, is that I remember watching this show as a kid and I was like, oh yeah, man, I like this show. This is fun, And then I went to buy season 1 because again, Teddy was way into this game. I was like, hey, you want to do the thing that all the corporate marketers want me to do, which is introduce you to the original thing and boast the sales of that? And he said, yes, please, Dad. I would like to suckle at the teat of corporate America, I think is what he said. I forget what exactly
capitalism, Dada.
So I say all that to say, I was like, oh yeah, I'll buy season 1 on Amazon because it was like $8. So I was like, whatever. I've spent $8 on way dumber stuff, guys. Way dumber stuff. So I did that, and then I looked at 10 seasons. And I was like, did you know this show ran for 10 seasons? And you said, very lucrative property. I'm like, well, you're not wrong. one of the other things that this game does that Scott Pilgrim doesn't do, is actually one of the things that made me very irritated with Scott Pilgrim, is that baddies change color when defeated.
Dude, I have that exact note.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever, because we've played quite a few brawlers at this point, and now that I know that is a thing that the world is capable of affording me, I will demand it relentlessly from here on out.
Well, so here's the thing. They got to do one of two things. It doesn't have to be that. It has to be one of two things. They change color when defeated, or you can't interact with them once defeated.
Some signifier. I don't care what the signifier is. I just need a signifier. And the color change one works well with this art style.
And here's why I think they chose the color change one, is because once they're defeated, if you want to continue to gain special, you can continue to beat their dead body around, and you'll continue to gain special, but you know that that's what you're doing, right? Like, that's the thing, is they're not going to get back up and continue swinging at you, but once they change color, you can be like, man, I'm pretty close to that number 2, and I want to do this special over here, right? So you can continue to wail at several dead bodies that will give you multipliers of special ability, right? But you know that they're done, right? And that's why I think that they did that, is that like, if you suddenly stopped interacting with them, then special points is a limited resource, right? There is X number of special points because each person walks onto the scene with X number of hit points, and when they hit, and this is definitely straying into the mechanics, but once they hit you, that resets, right? So now that means that you're paying out the economy, right? You know, so that means there's a maximum number of special you can get, and you could gain way less. Once they do it this way, there's actually kind of a moderate to infinite number of special points you can get, but it's up to you, because once they're down and color changed, you can drop them whenever.
Right. And they pop once they hit the ground, and they actually make a point of, because they foot shoulder exploding animation so lovingly crafted, that like kind of shadow, like they desaturate the colors, like they resaturate them, right? So you get to see, it's like, oh hey, they're kind of grayed out. It's sort of like you're looking at them through like a dark screen. They're done, and if you let them hit the ground, when they start the explodey pop that all foot soldiers do, because they're definitely not troubled youth, they're absolutely robots, not troubled youth at all.
No, definitely not troubled youth that were shoved with mechanical pieces into them. No.
Yeah, not even a little bit. So then you get to see, that glorious animation, but it's like, oh, I know now. I know that they're done. Another thing that the foot soldiers do that I can't imagine this is a callback to the original show, but it's been a very long time. It's definitely a brawler game thing, but the sheer variety of animations the foot soldiers have as how they come into the scene is staggering, right? Because like in the very first level, you are in a television studio, probably April O'Neil's, right? But you're in a TV studio, so like you walk through this room.
It is definitely April O'Neil's because her boss is there.
Oh, that's right. You're right. So you walk through this room and they're filming a cooking show, and you walk through this room and they're filming an exercise show, and you walk through this room and they're filming the news show, and there are foot soldiers like interacting with the environment in all of those. So like they're like mixing, dough in the baking show, like some of them in the background. And they're like, and over here in this like office, they're typing on the computers, and then they get up and attack you. Right. And there's just, every level is just full of that. Like the foot soldiers must have 20 times as many animations as the main characters, because they interact with every single environment in these unique ways, and multiple unique ways per level. And I was like, I almost need to just watch like a let's play of this game just so I can enjoy all the backgrounds and all these little touches that, when you are fighting for your life, like you don't get to savor them as much. And the fact that while we were playing, I felt like I could still take in this level of detail. It's like, how much detail must there be then? Like if while I'm this distracted, I'm still noticing like, oh, cool. Oh, hey, cool. Check that out. Right. Like there must be even more stuff that is, a layer or 2 or 10 deeper.
So they do all of that. And also too, they, as you go through, like the foot soldiers scale in difficulty as well. They should, right. And they do palette swapping, which I have a note on that here in a second. But one of the things that I wanted to share is that, like the purple ones are the punchy ones are the easiest, right? Because purple foot soldiers are the generics, right? But as you go on, one of the most difficult ones are the ones that are clad in black, and they not only do they throw size at you, but they jump and throw like 3 size, which makes them mechanically very difficult. One of the things that I also noticed, and this is a visual / mechanical note, is like, yeah, there's a million like minor things. And this may stray into mechanics, but when you get revived by another player, you revive with not full health, right?
Yeah, I think you have like half-ish.
Half, maybe a third, right? A little bit less, right? And that's an important mechanical thing, because otherwise the game would be, even on hard mode, way too easy, right? But what they do to, in my mind, justify it is, how do you revive people, man?
Oh, you like dangle the pizza.
You give them a slice of pizza. How do you get all of your health back?
You eat a whole pizza.
You eat a whole pizza. So that's the thing, man, is that's why you only get a little bit of health left. You only got 1 slice of pizza. You get the whole thing. And I like that. That's cool.
And that happens fast, right? Like you don't think about, oh, the revival animation, because it feels thematically the same. The revival animation as pizza and the healing item is a pizza. But it's like, nah, now they thought about it.
Yeah, because if you want to heal the whole group, you get the big pizza, which is 2 pizzas. It's way more pizza. So much pizza.
So I will just throw a quick, like, please, for the love of God, go listen to the soundtrack on YouTube Music or Spotify or whatever you like, because these beats are bopping. Because this is a modern indie game, the soundtrack is incredibly easy to find. Like, you don't have to put any effort into it. You can buy it, you can stream it, you can probably hear it on YouTube or whatever. It's just, and it's so as lovingly crafted as all of the visuals, right? It's a 90s style of music.
Oh, yeah.
It's a, video game beat 'em uppy, high energy. Like, it's bops. And I will say, like, I'm not a music theory person, so maybe it's super subtle, but they didn't do what some of the older games did, where the theme motifs are like reused a lot. Like, these are all original compositions. And I think, honestly, that was probably the right thing to do. Like, if you just rehashed using that same motif when there's already 40 pieces of music across the early games that is written using the Ninja Turtles theme motif, like, that might feel samey and reductive in a way that, like, this pixel art could never have existed on the Super Nintendo, right? So, like,
yeah.
Turtles in Time, which is a beautiful game, does not look this good. This game is relying very much on modern hardware, modern frame rates, modern screen dimensions, all that stuff. And for the music to essentially kind of just be the same music, I think would have felt like a missed opportunity. So instead, they captured the energy and the spirit of it, and it's really goddamn good, and you should go listen to it. But it, to the best of my knowledge, it does not use that same kind of trick of, like, familiarity.
Well, I think it does in one particular place, which is at the end of each level with the victory music. It goes dun dun.
Yeah,
dun,
but
dun,
that's
dun,
like
dun,
that's a fanfare, though.
Right, but that's the thing,
yes,
right?
You're absolutely right.
Right, you know what it is? Is it's saving "I Am Iron Man" for the credits of Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah. Where it's like, well, if we use it all the time, man, like, no one's gonna care. And it's like, right, you use it for the fanfare, where it's like, you did the thing, yeah. One of the so speaking of audio, the music changes halfway through the boss battles. It's hot way to live.
It's not based on time, right? It's based on damage.
Oh, it's definitely based off of damage, because
Yeah.
Teddy and I got real good at this game, and and the music change gets really awkward when you run in, find the bad guy, and 3 people activate their ultimates on them all at the same time. It very awkwardly makes a switch from normal to, oh god, it's already halfway dead music.
That's almost like a thing you leave in on purpose. Like, yeah, if 6 people, because you can play this game 6 player, right?
Yeah.
So if 6 people all rush in and are super pros, like, okay, they get to hear the jank music transition as like a treat.
Where they just like, and the thing is that, like, Teddy at one point was saying, no, because he had 3 bars, and I said, come on, man, you can use your ultimate. He's like, I'm saving it for the boss. I'm like, if you use your ultimate now, you'll still have it for the boss. And then we played this game so much, and again he's still into it. We're like he now knows when the boss is coming. Like he knows the visual of like what it looks like. And he'll say, "Deadass, stop! Charge your ultimate." You know, and so we all stop and we all charge our ultimates, and then we go in there and wreck their face. So yeah, so I like that. I do. I actually like the janky music transition where it's like I don't know how to deal with how much damage you've done just now. It feels like D&D where you're the DM and you're like, all right, this thing has 200 hit points. Person 1, your turn. I deal 180 hit points. Really? Well, then it releases its ultimate form.
You said it only had 2 forms. Right. Form 1, Form 2, and an ultimate form.
Exactly. The final form. The form that allows it to, you know, throw a bag to somebody else while it's dying. You know, like things like that, right?
Yeah. A normal thing for a spine devil to do.
Yeah.
I have
that
one
was
other.
Just for us.
I have one other visual thing I just want to make sure I mention. I don't know if this was their intention. I think it probably was because I doubt there is much in here that was not intentional. I assume you mostly played on story mode. Yes.
Yes.
So this game has a story mode and an arcade mode. The arcade mode.
Yeah, I played like one thing of arcade mode. I was like, no.
So I just want to be fair that this visual is only in the story mode. When you are moving between scenes, levels, you know, whatever, you see a top-down map of the city, and you are navigating from, you know, dot to dot, kind of Super Mario Brothers 3 style in the Turtlemobile, which is the same way they did the overworld map in the notoriously hard and really famously crappy NES Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, right? It's the city top down with the Turtlemobile, and you know, drive from level to level, and that is how you get around the map. And when I beat the first level, the first time I was playing, and it, you know, goes out to the map because you have to use the map for features that are only present in the story mode, my sphincter tightened, and I was like, oh wait, no, this isn't that game. I see what you're doing, right? Because there's no reason they had to make the overworld look like that, except as a callback to that game, which this game otherwise has nothing in common with, right? That game was a 2D platformer. This is a 3-ish D, you know, brawler, like the 2 totally different games. And that is the only visual I'm positive. I'm sure there are others, but that's the only visual I'm positive came from that game. And I really think it is there just to mess with people. Just to be like, you know, oh, you get around the same way you did in the NES game. Remember how hard the NES game was? No, this is fine. We're friends here, but remember how hard that game was?
Yeah. The one other thing that they did in that was conflate the Turtlemobile with the Turtle Van.
What?
Because the Turtlemobile is a completely separate thing.
Oh crap! Did I say it wrong?
Yeah, yeah. It's they're in the Turtle Van.
Yeah.
The Turtlemobile is actually like a car thingy that it was very short-lived.
You're right.
I am technically correct. The best kind of correct.
It's the van. It's the one that looks like they're about to drop off their turtles at soccer.
Again, the best way to stealth about the city. Yeah.
But it is bright yellow with a green top.
It says TMNT across the side. Very good branding for ninjas. 2 last things I have for audiovisual is 1, a tone sounds when you're KO'd, and that's super hot.
I don't remember noticing that. I must have just never died.
It's actually not when you die. It's when you. So the minute that you take damage, before anything else happens, this tone sounds to let them know that you have now been KO'd. You're not dead. You're just down. And you're going to start counting down, which was nice for me because when you're dealing with a cacophony of BS that's playing with at least 3 players, much less 6, right? When you hear this particular sound, you're like, oh, someone's about to be down. And so you start looking around and go, this person's counting down. And then that lets you know that you should probably start saving them, which let me know when I would hear that sound I'd say Teddy or to me, right? If Teddy was down, I'd say, I need to go near Teddy and use my ultimate to clear distance so I can revive him. And for Teddy, that meant I need to go to Dada and use my ultimate because I forgot which one was reviving him and then let him die. Different tones for different people.
Yeah, it's good.
Know?
It's good that that one tone could signify both of those things.
and every time he's like, I'd see him use his ultimate, I was like, oh, sorry, because it's not, sorry, it wasn't that he'd use his ultimate, he'd use his charge ultimate, because that's the L1.
Right.
R1 is revive people, L1 is charge your ultimate, so he'd like run over to me and be like, pizza time, dudes! I'd be like, come on, man. Come on, man. He's like, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm like, you always forget. It's fine, it's fine. I'm just saying.
You're going to find years from now, you're going to be like helping him move into, different room in another house. And you're going to find his like 6-year-old journal. It's going to be like, June 25th. Again, watched my father squirm and die while playing Shredder's Revenge. He's convinced I don't know where the revive button is.
See, I thought I was going to be moving him into his apartment and he was going to go, Dad, can you help me with this? I was going to go, party time, dudes. As he like drags that crap up to his 3rd-story dorm.
He's trying to carry a refrigerator up the stairs. Like, Dad, it's not funny. I need you.
Party time, dudes. And the one final throwaway note that I have is that I think it's in the Technodrome, I think. But there is a scene where literally when you're fighting the bad guys, is that they show in the background purple foot soldiers getting spray painted to blue foot soldiers getting spray painted to black foot soldiers.
That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, because that's an acknowledgement. Like, that makes no sense in universe, right? That's entirely like a fourth wall breaking. Haha, get it? Like, they're different colors, so you can tell what their attack pattern is like, which I think is actually probably a pretty good segue into gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I had. So, gameplay.
So, we just levied a lot of fawning praise on the way this game looks and sounds and kind of like feels as a thing. And I suspect we're about to levy a lot of fawning praise on like the way it played and how they, kind of made the game feel as good to play as it looked. But I was kind of fascinated by some of the things that were not as dramatically different as I expected. So my notes, I couldn't come up with a good order for them. But one of the things I want to first talk about is like characters look super different. They move super different. Mechanically, they're actually still fairly close. So when you're on the hero select screen, you see, what is it? Like range, power, and speed, or range, speed, and power, I think. And so each one of those can be up to 3 stars. And so it's exactly like you imagine, right? Leonardo is all 2 stars. Michelangelo is 1, 3, 2. Raphael is 1, 2, 3. Donatello is 3, 1, 2, right? So you have your min-maxers, and then your all-around is the leader, right? So it makes sense thematically. But when you actually play the game, the differences are not so pronounced that it's like, oh, well, obviously this character is the one that you should play because they are super broken in this way that makes the game unfun, right? You can like optimize out the fun by playing whoever all the time. They're too close, right? So it's more about which turtle do you like and which playstyle do you have. I found that even though I liked characters that were more powerful, I actually tended to gravitate towards the ones that were faster because it just fits with the way I play brawlers. So like me and April O'Neil got tight on subsequent playthroughs because she's just freaking awesome. Like
she is.
She's really good.
Actually, she is awesome to the point where Lizzie said to me, because and again, like Lizzie's cross section of this was limited, but she said, okay, so Teddy's gonna play as one of the green guys or something like that. But basically she said to me like, and you're going to play as the yellow one. I was like, that's April O'Neil. And that was who I played as through a lot of it. Because April O'Neil is awesome. Yes, I agree completely that most of their, again, like in the old Turtle games, you played as Donatello, man, because like he had the widest range and there was no difference in power or anything else. There is enough to where it has a slight game feel, but, and I think that and honestly, I think probably a lot of thought went into this, not to the point where it's like, if Raphael is your favorite turtle and it's counter to your gameplay, you can still play as Raphael. Like it's if you like ranged attacks, right? If in your heart of hearts you're a Donatello, like from a gameplay style, but you want to play as Raphael, then he is playable for you. And because that's the thing, is you want to play as your Ninja Turtle, right? But you want to feel like your Ninja Turtle is unique. And here's actually one of the things that they did that I thought was great, because Raphael's power is high, his range is the worst, and his speed is decent, right? So what his range being hot garbage is, you know what that actually does mechanically that I thought was brilliant? Is it makes him way more likely to grab and to throw.
Which kind of fits thematically.
Totally fits his character. When I was playing as Raphael, I was tossing people all over the screen. I was like, this feels right. It wouldn't feel right if Leonardo was like grabbing people and throwing them in this. It's like, whoa, Leonardo, you okay, man? It's a bit much,
I
like,
just hate criminals so much.
Yeah, I just hate them having intact skulls. Like it would have been. But Raphael, I was like, no, this feels right. And so again, I feel that when they were going through it, again, it's a labor of love, right? Where they're like, look, man, you want to feel like your Ninja Turtle, right? So, and one of the things that I think that they do, and this is a slight visual, but again, mechanically, is that mechanically you have a button that lets you build ultimate attack, right? So basically,
it's a taunt.
Yeah, your taunt, right? But the nice thing about that is that all of them are very specific to the character. So that way, if you're Leonardo, you're the one who's focused on being the leader and taking everyone through to the end, then your taunt is to point at the screen and say, I'm sorry. His taunt is
he says deep breath, and he takes it. He does like a chi breath.
Yeah, he goes deep breath, and like he crosses his swords in front of him. He's very meditative, right? Donatello's like, yeah, in a minute, and he's like playing video games in the background. You're like, nah, I'm a Donatello. I like tech. I like video games. I can get on board with that. And then Michelangelo's like, party dudes, and he's like jamming out, right? And Raphael literally like Raphael is the one who has the taunt.
He taunts. He puts his size away and just crosses his arms and laughs, which is not a posture you would typically take during a brawl.
No. It reminds me of the one time when we played racquetball, where like you racketed it at the wall. It was a good return, but like it was a slow lob, and like I just remember returning it and being like that, and then you laughing in the background. And I was like, what? And you're like, you shook your head as you slowly walked up to it and swatted it to an ace. And I knew that when your opponent has time to hit the taunt button, but that's Raphael, where he's like, ha, I have time for this nonsense.
He's not in danger. Although I think April O'Neil has the best taunt at the. So during the fighting, she holds out her mic and says, "Any questions?" Right, and it's kind of like on theme because she's a reporter, but
her end animation,
yes, where she does a full on mic drop, and I was like, this is great because they have just enough space with her character to kind of project on what they want her to be in this environment, because this isn't a role she typically had in the TV show or the games, right? So like the fact that they made her like lean, kind of like not cocky, right, but confident, right? Because Raphael is cocky, she is confident,
right? Because she's in front of a camera all the time, right? And I think that's an important part of her character, right? Where it's just kind of like, she's not cocky, she's not cocksure, she's not, and she's also like not necessarily a ninjutsu master, right? But she owns the space because that's what she's trained to do. She's trained to walk into a room and say, all cameras on me, check 1, 2, 3, we're good, let's move. That's what she's trained to do, and all of that bleeds through, and it's amazing. And again, I don't have my notes in any particular order, so I'm going to have throwaway notes with like meaty notes. But I had to say this, is that so it counts your hit streak, right?
It does. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you can get a reward for it at the end.
You can. For whoever like had the highest gets, typically whoever gets the highest, you get the highest number. And then it says like, and the person who did the most whatever gets a little bit more. And then there's the leveling mechanic, which we'll get into. I just needed to say this. Teddy got 100 hit streak despite me trying, like the way it just played out was I was just like, the minute I realized that, I was like, oh no, man, I'm gonna get this 100 hit streak. And I got up to like 60s, 70s, and I was like, it can be done. I know it can be done. I'm gonna keep working at it. I'm gonna do my best. And at one point, Teddy goes, Dad, I got more than you. And it said 105. And I was like, are we going to fight? Are we doing this?
Good job, champ. Good luck paying the mortgage since you're the man of the house now.
And then shortly afterwards, I did get the 100 streak, but he did. And I probably hit a 100 streak before him, but consciously, when I became cognizant of it, he definitely hit it before me. I was like, I don't like this. I don't care for this. Not like this. Because that was the thing. I knew he'd be better than me, but not 6. Not at 6. Maybe at 12. Not like this.
So I actually want to ask you about like the category of crap they changed. So you can play in the arcade mode, right? And I checked it out. It's fine. It is exactly like you expect, and that's great. The difference with the story mode is that it's better in every way because first off, you get the overworld map and all like the little dumb side collectible things, which I actually really liked because it forced me to engage with the environments, right?
Also, you can skip the levels that you don't like or suck for whatever reason.
You can skip levels?
Once you beat them once, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, which is nice because like the skateboard / whatever levels, like
auto scrollers always suck.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that you beat them once and then you're done. That's it.
But they have, like RPG elements basically. So in the arcade mode, it works just like the old games where you murder 100 troubled teenagers and then you get an extra turtle.
They're robots.
Oh, sorry, robots. You murder 100 robots.
Sorry, and it's an understandable mistake. As a troubled teen myself, I remember many of my robot brethren being murdered.
Robot brethren? So are you half robot? Did you have the same like robot parent?
Yeah. There was. I was conceived in a robot too.
So you have these like I don't know how to transition back out of that, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just plow through it like a robot plowing through, like my brother plowing through it.
So when you have these RPG elements, they let you gain levels essentially. So like it's roughly like every 100, and then it's every like 200. So like the first time you get like 1 extra hit point, and then the next time you get some other thing, and then later you get another hit point, and then later you get like 2 special bars instead of 1 special bar, right? So like your avatar,
there are some critical ones,
there's the true ultimate move or whatever the hell it's called that you get. I think is the very last thing you get, or it's very close to the end. And you get extra turtles, I think, throughout. So like it's fewer or more deaths before you have to continue. But your avatar does get a little bit stronger. And I wasn't totally sure how I was going to feel about that right up until I was like, I like this because it's not mostly because there's like 10 levels, right? Most of them are not a night and day difference. And because they are relatively small increases that take a non-trivial amount of time to earn, you, the player, are getting better faster than your avatar is getting stronger, unless you have a really low games literacy and you have to like play the first level over and over and over and over and over. And then those little bumps in your avatar strength might be what you need to progress, right? So like you never find yourself in a situation where you can give up getting better at the game in lieu of just having a more powerful avatar. You must become a better Ninja Turtle to proceed through the game. And then the avatar stuff is more like just nice little bumps, little like, hey buddy, you get an extra hit point. Hey champ, you get an extra, like a special attack, right? Like they're meaningful without being game breaking.
Well, and the thing is, you don't like that? Play in arcade mode, you know? Like that's the thing is that, again, if you're like, this is just making my avatar stronger, like I don't think I'm getting better, then get rid of it. You can easily get rid of all of it if you want. And also too is that one of the things that I did, even as Teddy and I were playing through, is I was like, how much am I relying on this? So I kind of kept track, which was to say that, I'd be like, okay, well, I have 5 turtles. So if I complete this level with 2 or more turtles left, then those extra turtles didn't really matter. It's like, yes, I had 3 bars, but how often was I delving all the way down to 0 from 3? Like, and so you could kind of get a gauge for, this is how much I'm relying on the game. This is how much I'm relying on me. But also too, it's again, you don't like that, you can turn it off. And that's one of the things I think that, again, more games can learn from, which is just you don't like it, turn it off. You know, if you're like, well, this game is coddling you, then turn it off. This game doesn't coddle me enough, turn it on. I don't know, like just do that. Yeah. One of the things that I thought that was particularly interesting is that your hit window, and this is a very nuanced thing that I got from playing it with Teddy forever. Your hitting other people's window, your hit window,
hurt box,
your hurt box. I like that. Your hurt box increases when you use your ultimate. I am certain of this.
You like after you're done with your ultimate?
No, like when you're using your ultimate.
I am not following. Say more words.
So if I'm like swiping, punching, hitting the punch button, hitting the attack button, right? My hurt box is X. When I then hit my ultimate, it is X plus 1 during my ultimate.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Well, and not just like in the animation, in the depth as well. You know?
Yes, it is left and right wider and front to back wider.
It's just why, because the thing is that when you use that, you want to mess stuff up, right? You know, so you want to use it and be like, I should have tagged that guy. There was no point when I used my ultimate and said I should have tagged that guy. There were times when I used my ultimate and said, really surprised I tagged that guy. Neat. But there was never a time where I was like, I should have gotten that guy, you know, which again, I think is every time. And there are times in this game too, where your hurt box eclipses your opponent's hurt box, which is they threw a punch and it missed me. And then not moving at all, I threw a punch and it hit them. Is that equal? No, but it feels fair, you know?
Yeah, it feels fair because presumably they're behaving as if they're looking through their eyes, whereas we are behaving as if we are looking on from the side, right? So I know like stupid idiots think like, oh no, man, the game should just be fair and you should just get good. And it's like, shut up. Games cheat in your favor in ways you have never even imagined. The game should be fun for the player.
Now, here's the thing. The game shouldn't be equal. It should be equitable. The game always knows exactly where you are. You know, you, human, have to guess. So even though it's not equal, it is equitable in the sense that, you know, when they hit me, that feels like they should have hit me. And when I hit them, it feels like I should have hit them. But there are times when they will swing and they can't hit me, and I will swing and I can't hit them. And that still feels fair. It feels equitable.
Yeah, and that's, you know, in pixel measurements or in the radial cone or however they measure it, like that is probably something you have to get through playtesting, right? Is you need the player to say like, I got them and they got me, and never like, what the hell, right? Because that doesn't feel good in either direction. If you swing your sword as Leonardo and someone on the other side of the screen goes down, then it's just like, what? Because then you don't feel like you accomplished anything, right? Every hit needs to feel like I landed that hit. Every hit that I take has to be like, you know, I allowed them to get through my guard, but I shall overcome. And that's probably incredibly like time consuming to be like, okay, we made the hitbox a little bit wider and the hurt box a little bit narrower. Was that too wide and too narrow? And you have to probably tweak that out, but they absolutely nailed it here. It just feels really, really good. I will say, you complimented the ultimate for like, aha, I've cleared all of the enemies from around me. This, I honestly think, is the one place that the characters are super not equal is in their ultimates, because half of the characters can move during their ultimate and half of them can't. And I don't know, because I didn't go and do like pixel measurements, I don't know if the ones who can't move while they're doing their ultimate get something out of that. Like, do they have a wider ultimate but they can't move?
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that the ones that can't move, their ultimate is way wider than the people who can, except for April O'Neil, who I think like bridges a little bit of that middle space, you know? But yeah, because the ones who can move is Raph and April, and I think that's it.
That might actually be it.
Yeah, and both of their ranges are the shortest, you know? So they compensate with a short range by
April
being
O'Neil's
able to move.
got the 2-star range. Her power is the lowest.
Yes, but who else has a 2-star range? Leonardo does. Right?
Leonardo has a 2-star range, and that's Casey Jones, I think, has a 2-star range.
Yeah, Casey, but he's actually the exception to the rule because he has a 7 stars total.
He does? Oh, right,
Yeah.
because you unlock him at the end, so he's your
Correct.
he's your reward character.
Right, but yeah, I believe that the ones that can move in general have the shortest range, so they compensate by that with giving them a bigger move. So like you can then move it around, but your short range because otherwise, like as Raph, it's like okay, so then your ultimate arguably should have a shorter range than everyone else, right? And that means that your ultimate is now way more useless. So you have to provide a difference in kind. And the difference in kind is, okay, well, your range is shorter, but you can move, you know?
So I started playing as Raph and...
Yeah, you would.
No, Leonardo. I started playing as Leonardo. And he can't move. And then I played as Raphael, and he can, and I quickly got addicted to that. Because I ended up playing as everybody, and when I would play as characters that couldn't move, I was just like, this doesn't... For some reason, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, for some reason, I wanted to throw an ultimate like you would do a charge attack or a jump kick, right? Like it was a thing I wanted to do on the move. And so for the character, because really the point of that movement is I am being overwhelmed and I would like that to stop, right? Like that is what that thing is for. I'm either playing alone or we have allowed too many enemies to spawn onto the screen and I am now being swarmed and I need them to get the hell off of me. That is the default use. And you can save them for bosses and you can probably do other things with them. But like the default use is get off of me. Whereas the way I was trying to apply it was I want to hit you so hard, right? And so like, to me, that's a thing you have to do on the move, right? Like the Superman punch doesn't happen with him casually sitting in a Barca lounger. He flies into you using his superpowers.
Whereas I was like playing as Leonardo is I said, I can't move. So what I need to do is kind of kite a lot of people towards me and then use my ultimate. So again, it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to use a little bit of strategy, try to mold some people, get everybody where I need them to, and then use my ultimate. And you were like, burn it all down. Screw you. Screw this. Screw movies. Everybody dies, you know? And I feel like that's in character for both characters. So that means that they captured both characters, which is
true. No, you got me.
Yeah. I liked Raph's because it let me burn it all down. I like Leonardo's because it made me strategize. So we did it. Like, did we do the thing?
Good work, everybody.
Let's see. Responsiveness. Oh, dodging. Dodging's a thing.
Dude,
Dodging's awesome.
Dodging is such a thing. And like,
yeah,
because I played a tiny little bit of this before we played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. And I'm really glad that I didn't spend more time with this before doing that because dodging's a thing.
Dodging is a thing. And actually, because I played this a lot before we played the Ninja, yeah, I was like, well, so sometimes I get hit and sometimes I don't. But dodging's amazing because because every enemy telegraphs to some degree. There is frame when they telegraph and frame where they hit. And dodging can always happen between those two frames. Pretty much always. I can't think of a time when like somebody telegraphs the minute they do their telegraph animation to where they do their hit animation. And if you dodge in between those two things, you don't get hit.
I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a telegraph, right?
Which means it's all on you though.
Yeah.
It's like you could perfectly play this game if you're only fast enough. If only your ninjutsu is strong enough.
Do you know how the developers straight up tell you that that's possible? In the very first level, because when you're playing in story mode, all the levels have challenges, right? So there's things you can collect.
Don't get hit.
Yeah, the very first challenge in the very first level, which seems kind of cruel, is finish the level without taking damage, which means the first time somebody pops you, which is probably the very first enemy, right? Assuming you're new to the game, you don't know what's going on.
For me, it was the second, but you know.
Yeah, whatever. But like somebody comes in and pops you and you get a little, I think it's like a black bar with white text and it shows like an X instead of a check mark, and it's like, oh, finish the level without taking damage, and there's like a little red X, and it's like,
for me actually, all I saw was like that same thing, but it was a picture of my mom, and it just said failure.
Yeah, I'm
Did you see that?
disappointed in you.
Yeah,
No, I think you saw that in your heart.
Oh, that feels right.
Yeah, but that's a great little thing to, because it's not like a giant, sad your mom crying message on screen, right? It's just a little banner across the bottom, just for George. It's just a little banner across the bottom. So I like that they are kind of letting you know, like, hey, this is a thing that if you understand the systems and you learn the enemies and you are able to deploy the tools effectively, this is a thing we expect you reasonably could do. Also, we don't care if you actually do it, and we'll never bring it up again, right? Like, the little challenges are never shoved in your face, right? This is another thing you get in story mode, you just don't get in arcade mode. All those little, like, extras, the collectibles, rescuing the people, the like, I think some of the power up pizzas, I think, are only in the arcade and not, or only in the story and not in the arcade. So, like, there's all these little things that are just there to keep you feeling like there's more to learn and more to see and more to do, which, if you are just a hardcore arcade brawler, you don't need all those little things. But to see the game 2 seconds into starting the game go, oh, hey, you took a hit, buddy, I guess you're not going to finish this level without getting hit. And it's like, that's a thing you expect. You know what it is? That's your Morpheus moment. Are you saying I'll be able to dodge bullets? I'm saying when you're ready,
you won't have to.
Right? Like, that's what it is, because it's so early in your journey when it's like, what? And it's so well executed.
That one, and in level 4, they say, hey man, you used your super move. Don't do that.
Right?
Not in this level.
Yeah, no,
that's a
here.
thing you can do. Just don't. And I never got that trophy because using my super move was awesome, especially because. And if any of our audience, disagrees, like, let me know. But I'm pretty sure Casey draws people towards him when he uses his ultimate.
Ooh,
I'm pretty confident on that.
I didn't get to play as him as much, but I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a little extra juice, just because it's like, you got to earn him, so it's okay if he's like a little more powerful.
So I have one throwaway note, but this is one game because I played it many a times with Teddy. I beat it on, what are they called? The difficulty modes.
Chill, okay, and gnarly.
Teddy and I beat them on all 3.
Nice.
Gnarly was actually a little gnarly. Like, it got a little heated a couple times. I was like, Teddy, I need you to revive me. He's like, I'm trying. I'm like, I need you to not charge your super move when you're trying to revive me. I need you to get better at that.
Oh, here, let me come over and do it. Party time, dude.
And I was like, no, it's fine. This is fine. It's fine. But we did beat it. We beat it on all 3. Here's what I can assess, because normally, we play through and I'm like, easiest, trying to review the game, trying to understand the mechanics, trying to understand, sometimes medium, but I played through several times on each difficulty. Here's what I can tell are the differences. 1, bosses have more hit points. That feels right, Different color foot soldiers appear at different points in the game.
Okay. Like in different combinations, or you just get them at different times to throw you off?
I feel like, and again, I might have screwed this up. I feel like that there are some foot soldiers, like the blue ones appear slightly earlier,
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. And are more aggressive. So all of the AI is more aggressive. And that when they register, like, I can punch you, they don't wait as long as they didn't tag your ass. But one of the things is on the easiest mode. Did you play on the easiest mode?
I finished it on okay first, then I finished it on chill. And I played a bunch on gnarly, but I don't think I had time to get all the way through.
On okay, I don't think this happens, but I do believe it happens on all the other ones. Getting hit resets your super meter. I don't think that happens on okay. It definitely happens on chill and gnarly.
Oh, so like one of the ways to store super is to take damage.
No, what I'm saying is that one of the way, like if I'm halfway through my super bar on okay, if I'm halfway through my super bar and I get tagged, I'm still halfway through my super bar. On Gnarly, if I'm halfway through my super bar and get tagged, I'm reset to the base of that super bar.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, no, these are all like good ways to modulate difficulty, you know?
Well,
And I mean, you get
just
hit
like
with
the
a hell
difference
harder.
between the turtles, they're not huge sweeping differences. It's like we tweaked a bunch of little things so the world overall feels easier or harder, not just, oh, everybody just has 10 times as much HP. So the game's the same difficulty, you just have to hit them more times. Like that's not harder, that's how long before your thumb gets tired.
Right. And that's the thing, is it's not like you hit them harder, they hit. And to be fair, they do hit you harder for sure, you know.
But it's not just that.
But it's not just that, you know. So I'm like, oh no, this is nice, because that means that they don't have to hit you so much harder where it's like, okay, well, I can only get hit twice and then I die. It's like, no, I can still hit, on okay, I can get hit 10 times. On this one, I can get on Gnarly, I can get hit, you know, 6 times. That's 4 less times. But also, there's these other things that are making the game like moderately more difficult, and that's a problem. The one other just throwaway note that I had that I want to get in there, which is on okay mode, because on later modes they're more aggressive. Is the note that I have is that foot soldiers are the what if I need it with throwing TVs. They come onto the screen, you know, and they just have the TVs. And they just wander around, and they keep waiting for the appropriate moment to throw the TV. But they're like, but what if I need to throw it later? I mean, they are me playing Final Fantasy, but with televisions. And I got
99 TVs, but I might need them for a later part of the fight.
What if I need this TV later? And then I would beat the ever-loving mess out of them until they exploded, and they never use that TV. Just like me with Final Fantasy, when I was like. Well, this thing's about to use its ultimate attack, and I have 1 hit point left. I know, but what if I need that? What if I need that potion? You know,
there could be a final form. So I want to throw out a couple things just to see like if you have any visceral reactions to these. The double jump in this is like the one thing that I felt like they got wrong. Like you have to press the second jump on your ascent. You cannot press it at the peak. So like, you essentially, it's almost like what you're doing is before you leave the ground, you have to decide I'm going to jump as high as I can, or I'm going to do a normal jump. Whereas in, I don't know, every video game ever made that has a double jump, you basically decide when you will just magically jump off the air again. Up to and including a lot of games literally make that part of the mechanic. Like you are literally jumping off of the air the second time, and you can't do that until you get like the magical boots, right? In Castlevania Symphony of the Night, your cape literally becomes wings. So you jump, but then your double jump is actually the wing flap. And it's very cool, right? It's very diegetic. But in this, it's not, it's actually quite a bit more realistic, where you have to essentially decide before you jump, I'm going to do the double jump, because you have this tiny little window at the beginning of the jump where you can press jump again to get the extra height. The reason that bothered me is this game is not a platformer. You basically never have to double jump, except when you double jump and you hit the attack button, you do a special attack that only happens during the double jump. And Leonardo's is the best.
It's awesome. Because
he just sticks his swords out and free spins. So if you were fighting those annoying flying enemies like John Baxman or whatever, then like you fight,
that feels right. That feels like the right name.
I think I wasn't sure at first, but when I saw your confused snarl, I figured that must be it. So Leonardo basically is kind of invincible while he's doing it, and it's really great. Whereas Donatello, Casey Jones, I think April, and
Michelangelo.
Where you have to repeatedly press so that you can swing multiple times, but they're all in front of you. You don't get the awesome, like crazy 360-degree hurt box. Like it's just, oh man, or hitbox. Like it just.
To be fair, the reason why they did that with Leonardo is because Leonardo is the best.
I mean, he certainly has the best double jump, but I was surprised. Like this, and granted, you could probably play through the entire game and not ever care about the double jump attack. It's not critical. It's not even required at any point, but against flying enemies.
It is banging for the final boss. I'll give it,
for the final boss and against any flying enemies, because Shredder is big and he moves around a lot, and then John Baxman, like he flies, and because he's like the most annoying boss in the game, and I just thought it was like curious, I guess, that in every other way the space between each of the playable characters feels like noticeable, but you could choose to ignore it. But if you line up all the characters and you're like, okay, show me your double jump attack, it's like Leonardo's is the best and everyone else is tied for last. Like, you all suck.
Yeah. I feel like Leonardo, when they show it, it just shows him and it just freeze frames and like anime, and then there's just body parts flying everywhere. And everyone else is just like, I use a stick.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to make sure I at least mentioned, if not hear your thoughts on, especially because you played so much with two other humans, is the team up moves. Just, they feel so good. They feel so good because they just happen when you're fighting.
Because you don't, because like you could try to make it happen, but most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time you're like doing your own thing. They do their own thing, and you like shell bash someone together, and you're like, yeah. And the thing is that Teddy's not old enough to know that that's just like the AI doing work for us. So he thought I was doing it every time. He's like, good job, Dad. I'm like, yeah, I'm the best.
Yep. Yeah. I am the greatest.
Keep on thinking that. But yeah, no, oh my God, it's so good, and that's what you want, right? It's just, look, because I feel that, again, with the old school TMNT games, they were coin ops that they ported, they were like, we're trying to make coins, and this team's like, we have your money. I want you to make the feel good chemical in your brain. And I did that.
Yeah, which is why it defaults to story mode, right?
Yeah.
It defaults to quality of life improvements mode. And the arcade mode, it literally says when you select it, like, for turtles who want a greater challenge or something like that, right? It's very like, hey, buddy.
It's like, are you sure?
Know what you're getting into, right? Like, if you're here because you're pushing 40 and you played these games as a kid and you want the arcade experience, great, come on in. But if you're not here for that experience, whether you remember it or not, but if that's not what you're here for, slot number 1, story mode, right? For first option on the menu. So you're hammering the continue button and it just takes you right into the mode you probably want to play anyway. The very last thing I have, do you have any other big notes? Because this is the last thing I feel like I absolutely must mention.
Do the thing.
Hazards hurt enemies. Hazards hurt enemies. Environmental hazards hurt the enemies. They can fall in pits. They get run over by things. They can catch on fire. They can get frozen. They can hurt each other sometimes if they have like projectiles and things. I didn't really ever use it intentionally in a tactical or strategic way, like maybe once or twice, but just seeing an enemy who's like coming after me and I hit him once and he falls in a pit. And I didn't mean to knock him into that pit. That's just where he went. And now I can direct my attention over to the other guy who's not going to fall in a pit. Just felt like my turtle and those foot soldiers existed on the same goddamn plane of existence. And to me, that is now like a brawler requirement. Like, brawlers where crap can happen to me, but it can't happen to the enemies is unacceptable.
No, agree completely. And actually the 1 degree further than that is I don't know, man. I just loved that you could grab people and you could slam them around and all sorts of stuff. I also love when you like grab them and blam, blam, blam. April would like take a picture of them,
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, and you can you have like the throw into the camera throw.
That's what I was gonna say, man. Is it that's what to me like sealed the deal, man. Is the you grab them and then like you just throw them at the camera, because when they go like, whoa, how'd you do that? I'm like, I don't know, man, I'm awesome. But yeah, man, it's just like you grab them, toss them into the camera.
It's there for mechanical reasons. It's there for throwback reasons. But the reason it's there for throwback reasons is in the old games, they couldn't do that until they had the processor to render sprite transformations, right? So they didn't, like Mode 7 and Super Nintendo, like they didn't actually draw all those things at those stupid angles with diagonal pixels. Like, they computationally rotate it and then display it however it looks, which is why some of those things look jank as hell, right? Like, most of F-Zero looks great. Some of it looks catastrophically bad. And so having something come from the camera or go into the camera that is a sprite, the whole magic there is, oh, look, we drew this static asset and then we are going to animate it and do that all programmatically. And so the reason it's in this game is because it's in the old game. But the thing is, they made sure that it's not the default, right? You're not constantly throwing things into the camera because they're not showing off the technology. You smash people back and forth because that's more like in-universe realistic. But when you do the into camera throw, it just feels good. It looks good, and it just makes you go like, ha, got him, right? Like it just there's so many little. We could literally have just done this episode where we read from a list of little moments that make you feel good or that look good or sound good in this game, and that would have been, I think, an equally valid review. Just like, this thing feels good. Number 2, this thing.
No, I agree completely. And to me, like the pinnacle of like my weird synapses firing was every person's pose in the original show was represented in this. But all that being said, Lions, did these heroes in a half shell hold up?
Did this game learn from history?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, dude, like unbelievably so. Like this is the most fun I think I may have ever had playing a brawler, because I don't particularly like these kinds of games, right? Like I have very fond memories of Turtles in Time, and when we replayed that game, I'd enjoyed it, but like generally this is just not my type of game. Now, I will say this, the one thing that this game could not magically overcome is I had a way ass better time playing it co-op than I did solo.
And they know that because there's 6 available slots. Like, it's them like driving you to like, you know, normally there's only 4 players on local co-op. We'll give you 6. Play it with another human.
And they know that because there's the turtle team up, right? The like that just happens, and you can only do team up moves when more than one person is playing. There's the health sharing mechanic. You can high five each other as a way to swap health, which I just totally forgot to mention. But you can obviously only do that if you're playing with other people. There's the revive mechanic we talked about, where you can save from losing a life and like get back into the fight, right? There's a lot of little things that they're not night and day. It's not that the game is unplayable without those things, but there are so many things that are just like, it's meant to be played with other people. It's meant to be played with other people. This game is really fun and really well made, but it's really meant to be played with other people. And so if there's a single thing I could say, haha, it didn't accomplish this, it didn't make me say, I want to sit down and play this game alone. It did make me say, I want to find someone to sit down and play this game with, because this game is very, very fun with another person. So did it learn from history? Yes, 1,000,000 billion %. Like it is a tragedy that this game is not $60. Like there are AAA games out there that shamelessly ask for your $60 and then are just the latest version of Madden or the reskinned modern Call of Duty Warfare or whatever. And this game is like, I don't know, man, what do you think? Like $30? And it's like, no, I should buy this game twice just so they get $60. Like it's really probably the most fun I have ever had playing a brawler.
I mean, you know, we could do that. We could buy this game for 2 other people, you know?
Are you just, well, you know, when we get to the year in review episode, I have a feeling that this game,
bunnies,
this game might be the game we give away. So yeah, we might do that.
Yeah, man. I mean, just, you know, stay tuned. So for my review, 1,000,000 billion. So whatever that would be, quintillion, something that feels right.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sure. Percent. Yeah. No, this game's awesome, man. Again, so for me, like, does this game learn from history? Yes, in the sense that don't play Turtles in Time. Play this game. It's better. You know, if you want more of this game, yeah, then maybe Turtles in Time, Turtles in Manhattan, or whatever, you know. But keep in mind, it's going to get worse. Like, this game is just, oh God, it's a blast. And to me, the leveling mechanic gives you just enough to keep playing, because Teddy was totally cool just playing this game until his eyes bled, you know. But for me, I was like, as I was playing, I was like, yeah, I've done this. Oh, hey, but I've got a whole new character to level, so I'm more than happy to play all of this through and level this character again. So I just gotta say, man, if you're looking for what type of energy does this game bring, I mean, this is a hero and a half shell, turtle power.
The curtain falls. The music plays, the credits roll, then it all fades to black. and you're left by yourself. The fanfare is gone. There's no player two there by your side to share victories won. But as you slowly progress down the hall to your bed, a few great events leak back into your head from the time that you spent traversing the land, battling evil, fighting the darkness, just sword in hand. Your memories creep in with the edge of a smile. You realize again what you lost for a while. You're gonna think back much less on how you saved the day than on all the experience gained at the end of it all. Gamers play what we play, not for game over, but rather for what we take away. The world is sad, but who cares? We both know that that's not what you came for. Your next adventure already in sight. You're all set to go. You're excited to see what's all wrong till it's right, and the world is saved. So you're more along for the ride. You're more along for the ride. You're more along for the ride. You're more along for the
Nah,
Nah, nah, nah, nah.